Hello everybody and welcome to the 2022 NBA Draft. Now Colin, for the number 2 pick, we just saw Paolo Banchero go 1 in a surprise pick. Now Oklahoma City's up, and Chet Holmgren's been the name here for the past week, basically. Do things change now? Do you take Jabari Smith? What
Honestly,
do you do here?
I think it's going to be a very interesting decision for the OKC because they were expecting Jabari not to be there.
Yes.
And Jabari, as we both said, I think has the highest floor. There are questions with Chet, obviously, his size, his frame. As we already talked about in the last video, though, it's the top 3 regardless. These are the top 3 guys. But now you're kind of giving OKC to think of something to think about. Do they go with the highest floor prospect, in our opinion, and the lights-out shooter, and you can put him next to Lou Dort, and you have a 1-2 punch on the defensive end, and then you have a shooter, a knockout shooter on the offensive end? Or do you go with a Chet, who you've kind of been eyeing this whole entire time?
For me, I've had Chet Holmgren my number 1 player for the past month, basically, since we started this.
Yeah.
And I just look at that front court. If you can add him, and then not for nothing, they have the 12th pick, so I'm very excited about that. But you put him as a defensive anchor on your team. Not saying Jabari Smith can't play defense because he can, but Chet Holmgren's rim protection raises your floor as a defense, if nothing else, as we've seen with Rudy Gobert several times. It looks like the pick is in, but they're not coming up yet. But you add him with SGA, Lou Dort, Josh Giddey. I just look at that and be like, dang, that's kind of perfect. Now, not for nothing, Jabari Smith, with all those passers and all those creators, I would love to see Jabari Smith as well. This is perfect to me. I would not want them taking Paolo Banchero, but the other two, I'm cool with.
I will say I would rather have them Chet, like you said, just because of that defensive anchor that you'd like them to have in the front court at least. And then also we keep talking about Chet's defense. Offensively, he's still going to be a good player. We can't get past that. So I don't think the OKC should make this too difficult. Go with what you had done. Don't move down to
panic.
Yeah, don't panic. Don't panic. And go, oh, he's not going 1.
Like Jaden Ivey.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Oh, this did not go how we expected.
Speaking of Jabari Smith, so I mean, I'd say don't go with the guy who you were going to go with at this point. I don't think OKC should think too hard about it, just because that is kind of what they need. It's going to be interesting though, just because no one expected Jabari not to go first.
Well, like we talked about in the Orlando Magic video, there was the whole drama of, for those who didn't watch it, there was the whole drama of who was going to go number 1 with the in Vegas, and all the books and everything had Jabari, and then it went to Paolo, and then it went back to Jabari. And for those who placed bets on Paolo Banchero going number 1, they got great value here because nobody expected that after last night. So let's see who the Thunder take at number 2. I'm going to say Chet Holmgren.
With the 2nd pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren.
Yep,
there it is.
Right pick. That's the right pick.
I like it.
Like you said, you can't go wrong with either of these guys, but you gotta stick with the guy that you've been wanting this whole time. Chet obviously also said he wanted to go there.
Yep.
So I think this is a great pick. OKC can't go wrong.
Again, rim protection already there. He's more switchable as a 5 than I think a lot of people give him credit for. I think he has a lot of upside there. Now, once he fills out his body and stuff, obviously maybe he won't be as mobile, but I think he's pretty mobile at this moment.
Yeah.
Defensively, I expect him to just be great. As soon as he steps on the court. His motor's great as well, not for nothing. That helps him in the post. He really holds up well against opposing bigs. Now, I'm not saying he's going to shut down Joel Embiid or anything like that.
Right.
But, he can hold his own. And so I think from a defensive perspective, you add him with Lou Dort. SGA is not a bad defender either. I think we'll see what they do with the 12th pick. I would love if they got another defensive big at like Atari Easton or Jeremy Sohan at 12. But if nothing else, you have him and then the upside as an offensive player. The 3-point shooting, the creation, which I don't want to put too much into the ball handling because we've seen a lot of guys come in and be able to handle the ball. But the shooting, if nothing else, is a huge upside.
And it's not like you're getting a 7-footer with a small frame that's can't move and is weak. I think he has really good basketball strength. I think that's underrated for him. Right here you're seeing him go up against Paolo Banchero, who was taken number 1. So at the very least, you're getting a rim defending, mobile 7-footer who has so much unlimited offensive potential. And it's going to be, I think this is, again, the right pick. I kind of feel bad for Jabari because, he was expecting to go first this whole time. So do the Rockets take him? Because,
they're going to take him. We'll see at the next video. We'll see at the next video. But I think it's a great pick from Oklahoma City's perspective. Obviously, they have another pick coming up, so we'll get into that now. With the 12th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder We're back. Chet Holmgren's on our screen right now. Look at the boy.
Look at you. Look, that's your future star, guys. How do you feel?
What a guy.
At least you're not the Knicks.
All right, now here's who y'all are going to pick with the 12th pick.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, this changes things to AJ Griffin's on the board because I actually love AJ Griffin. 2 players. AJ Griffin, who I think would be a great pick here. Shoot the hell out the ball. We've talked about in the last 4 videos. But if you want to go watch those,
We should just wait until he actually gets picked.
I know, we should. AJ Griffin, we love him, though. He can shoot the hell out the ball. I think that would be a really good fit next to SGA, Dort, Giddey, and Holmgren now. I actually really like AJ Griffin. Another name I'm going to throw out here. Might be kind of crazy to some of y'all. Tari Eason, LSU. I saw him a lot this year. Great defender. And if you get Tari Eason and Chet Holmgren as your 2 picks in the draft, that is a defensive core, a defensive front court that sets your floor infinitely higher than it was before. I've already said Chet Holmgren raises the floor of their defense a lot. Tari Eason as a motor, as far as a motor goes, as far as defensive versatility goes, and I think even offensive upside. I love Tari Eason in this spot if they picked him. That's who I picked in the mock draft, if you haven't checked that out. I had Tari Eason 9 on my board, right behind Jeremy Sohan. I said if they got Sohan or Eason in this pick, I would be ecstatic. But I also like AJ Griffin.
Yeah, I mean, you already have a Lou Dort, you have Chet, you have SGA who can play defense, and you have an array of other players. You add Tari Eason to this, I mean, that's one of the best defensive teams in the NBA at that point. I mean,
you have to put it together.
I think in theory, that's what I mean. In
has
theory,
pieces,
right?
yes.
This is. I mean, you're going defense first here, obviously. I mean,
Yes.
these guys outside of Chet Holmgren and SGA aren't going to break you down.
They finished 18th in defense last year, which is not terrible for a team
No,
in
it's
this
not.
position.
And
If
so
you
you-
add these 2 guys, you're looking at a top 10 defense.
That's what I mean.
potentially.
And so, I mean, you get him, I think that's a knock in the park. And you mentioned Tari Eason's offense. I think at the very least, you don't necessarily want to have the ball in his hands, but he's athletic.
Yeah.
He can be in the dunker spot. He can, run the floor. He can
Get his head, put his head down.
put his head down off
yeah.
the catch. I mean, there's all those things that he can do correctly. And he was a pretty good shooter.
Yeah, no, he is. Especially as the year went on,
Yeah.
he improved as a shooter. And if he cleans up his mechanics a little bit, I actually could see him being a pretty solid shooter.
Yeah.
I don't know why Jay Billis has him so low. I guess he just hates LSU players.
I mean,
But
he had Ousmane Dieng above him. So
and didn't he have who did he have as the number 10 player? Was it AJ Griffin?
he had Jeremy Sohan
Yeah,
as like
Jeremy
number
Sohan.
15 overall or something
So
like that.
whatever. Sorry, Jay Billis. You don't know basketball. I know basketball. But yeah, I think those AJ Griffin, Tari Eason. I'm looking at my board right now to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I would Malachi Branham as like a creator off the dribble.
That's an
scorer,
interesting
maybe?
pick.
Let's see.
With the 12th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Jalen Williams from Santa Clara University.
That is interesting.
That is an interesting pick.
You're higher on him than I am, right? Or we
I
both
love-
have him at 19.
Yeah,
We both have him at 19.
I think I'm higher in terms of the long-term outlook on him. I think I love Jalen Williams. I don't know if he's the right pick for the Thunder because you have FG and you have Josh.
Yeah.
Giddey.
What is Jalen Williams? One of his biggest strengths. You said it before.
Yeah, he instantly is. He's probably one of, if not the best passer in this draft class.
Yeah.
Like in terms of just natural. I mean, if you guys watch his highlights, and I know he's from Santa Clara, so a lot of you might not have seen him. He is an insane natural passer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just he can run the pick and roll. He can make every single pass. He has the size to make every single pass. And not only that, he reads the floor. I mean, you guys are gonna see his highlights. I mean, he can run the pick and roll. Yeah, look at this. Yeah.
And he's very patient. He's
Yeah.
not one of these explosive players. My question is, and this is why I don't fully understand this, so maybe you could help me here. You have SGA, you have Giddey as 2 primary creators. Chet Holmgren could have the ball in his hands at times. Jalen Williams kind of needs the ball in his hands. I know he shot 39% from 3, but
I
that's
think-
not something that's typically been a huge strength of his. And I'm not saying he can't shoot because I think he'll be fine shooting the ball, but I want, to me, and this is why I said AJ Griffin or Tari Eason, I want someone who has a specialty that they don't already have.
Right, exactly. And I think that Jalen Williams, is more of a player that you are looking, like if a late rounder pick that's looking for a point guard. I mean, I think he's more of a point guard than he is a wing. I mean, in terms of at the NBA level, just because his playmaking is so high. I mean, like I said, he's the best playmaker in the draft, and it's weird that they pick a guy like that with 2 primary ball handlers. So if you're gonna have him as like a 3-and-D type guy, I don't know if that's the
Why wouldn't you pick AJ Griffin?
right. You're misutilizing his skill set, and I think that's an odd thing.
That is, it's a weird pick. I was not expecting to talk about Jalen Williams this early on. Again, he shot 39% from 3. Like he's capable of doing it. He's also 21 plus years old,
Right.
So you kind of know what you're getting. and I don't anticipate the Oklahoma City making a playoff push this year.
Right.
So when you're making a playoff push, like he's going to be a little bit older. Defensively, I didn't think he held up great against 1 and 2.
I agree.
So you have to kind of play him at the 3 position, next to like SGA, Dort,
Right.
Giddey, whatever.
But his
I
role
know-
is point forward. I mean,
But the thing is, he's not as a point guard. He's not someone with a burst.
No, I
that
agree.
You can be like, he's
But
going to
it-
get to them
but
great
his
for others. He needs a ball screen a lot of times.
No, I agree, but I think that's his ideal role, right? Like he's not a three. He's not a guy that's gonna shoot 35% from three in the NBA's first year. I don't think that's reasonable to think. So
I mean, even the finishing is a question mark for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I had finishing over height. I had drawing fouls. I had those as questions for me. I don't like this pick.
I don't either. I
don't-
mean,
I
it's
don't
hard to
think
also say that.
I was feeling so good about the Thunder after Chet Holmgren. And now I'm having to come in here and say I don't like this pick when I thought just Jeremy Sohan. Keep it simple. Not Jeremy Sohan. Tari Eason, AJ Griffin, Malachi Branham. Keep it simple.
It's interesting.
Why do you have
They
to
don't
take
they don't need another
Jalen Williams?
playmaker. It's just so weird.
Yeah, and all those guys that I just named aren't playmakers. They can either go score, spot up, defend, and fill all the roles. I don't completely understand this pick. So, yeah, there you go.
I'll see you one more time.
They have another pick?
They have one more pick.
Oh, well, there you go. We'll see y'all again. All right, we're here to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder after the first round because there was some trades and putting them back in the driver's seat, getting the 11th pick in Ousmane Dieng for 3 first-round picks, Denver, Detroit, and Washington's 2023 first-round picks. Obviously, there was a lot made of how Oklahoma City has like a billion first-round picks, and now they're giving them away. They're getting
Good for them.
Dieng.
Good for them.
Yeah,
Spreading the
it's
love.
kind of like going to rehab, you know?
Yeah.
They kind of just they have to get over that. It's time to actually put together a product on the court. We talked about Jalen Williams. We talked about Chet Holmgren.
Yep.
Now they get Ousmane Dieng, and while we have our reservations about Ousmane Dieng, I feel a lot better about him going to Oklahoma City than I do about him going to the Knicks.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Oklahoma City is looking for those home run swings like Alexa Pukaszewski, who he doesn't remind me of directly, but I kind of see where they're going with it. It's a big swing. You have your core now, and you can just kind of look at, all right, who's going to be these players that we can plug and play from here.
Not only that, if I'm going to trust any team to develop a player like that, it's going to be OKC. I mean, they took Poku. I mean, that's kind of what they've done in the past, right? So I do think it's an interesting pick just because you're sitting there wondering where are all these playmakers going to fit in. You have Jalen Williams, you have Josh Giddey, you have SGA, now you have Ousmane Dieng, whose upside obviously is playmaking. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with them. Obviously, I don't think Dieng is going to play next year.
Yeah.
But you can't really hate it because they're future picks. You don't need them. You're just going to continue getting players, so at some point you have to trade them for something. And not for nothing, that Pistons pick, for example, was heavily protected. I don't know if there was any protections on the other ones. What we read didn't really say anything. So, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's another player you can look to build. It'd be a lot different if they were a team that didn't get a Chet, didn't get a Jalen Williams, and said, okay, Ousmane
this is
Dieng's our guy. Yeah.
No, can't do that. But from Oklahoma City perspective, again, we like it. We think Ousmane Dieng, just to give you a little bit of a scouting report on him while we talk about him, because obviously with the Knicks one, we're just not going to show it. I am 18 on my board. Obviously, he leaves a lot to be desired, right? Yes, he had a very good second half of the year with the New Zealand Breakers, but you want to see him kind of round out his game, play with some more force, add some strength, add some consistency. Yep. But the potential's there, and that's what Oklahoma City will be banking on from a shooting perspective, from a ball handling perspective, from a creation perspective. You get like a Nicholas Batum-esque type player out of it. I think you're happy at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Yeah, so we appreciate y'all for joining us, and we'll talk to y'all later.